and what's his
Drew.
name? Drew. Very they've this is typical. Drew's been working with the exception when he did that thing where he beat Ricochet and Ali, but he's been having a lot of big man matches lately. They got a lot of big guys fighting for the titles.
Right.
And this was just very physical. I didn't like how the way they did the distraction at the end.
Right.
And it wasn't much of a distraction. It was just took his attention away briefly and then
Right.
caused him to lose. And I'm like, I would have done a more dramatic spot to kind of make him he got but
Right.
because that
Yeah, because you kind of missed it unless they replayed it.
Yeah,
right.
It was like you weren't sure what happened when that happened.
Since when? That was different because since when has the distraction ever been the manager just going, Drew?
Right. Bro, it was just, so that was very weak. And I'm like watching this and I'm like, ultimately, Bobby Lashley went over, and what we did was this was a distraction finish, which is the most overdone thing. And the thing is I don't
know. It's weak. I thought for such a big moment. You know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And let me tell you another thing. I was very surprised because a lot of people were saying, I think Joe might have brought this up, where they were afraid that Lashley was going to get cheered, which he wasn't. And I like this because this was a safe match. They did nothing dangerous, okay? Mm-hmm. But you still got into the hurt lock and it looked great. I'll tell you why, because and you've brought this up before. When you see two big guys, whether it's UFC or whether it's here in wrestling, it just looks different, feels different, hits different. It just reminded me of, because I just saw Godzilla and King Kong, like just two big, colossal, bigger than normal guys going at each other and every selling their shit. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I thought it was a good match. You know what I'm saying?
Well, let me tell you one spot.
Yeah.
That is just a mistake. And I saw actually somebody on Twitter actually a wrestler posted this. Somebody said, don't ask Lashley to base you. Lashley doesn't like to base. Did you see the spot where he jumps over the top rope to do the flip onto Lashley? Did you watch this?
Yeah, of course.
Bro, Lashley didn't. Not only did he not catch him.
Yeah.
Lashley literally covered his head with his hands.
Right.
And Drew, and I know he was hurt after when he took that. He landed right on his back, and it was the same bump that freaking Cage took that knocked Cage out for however long. He was hurt, and I'm like.
And I think what happens, and let me, because that's happened so much in wrestling. This is what happens. The guy says, hey, I'm going to dive onto you over here, and you don't want to look like a pussy. And you say, all right, I'll catch you. But he probably doesn't know how to catch. And, I mean, how many times has he had to catch people on topes? Wait a minute.
Bro,
and
a 270-pound guy.
And not only that, they're also afraid, especially muscular guys, they're afraid of ripping a muscle or something. You know what I'm saying? So you should have just told Drew, don't do it. But it was WrestleMania. Maybe Drew said, don't worry, I know how to land. Who knows?
Very huge mistake. Because number one, let me explain something to you, Konnan. What at your highest point of strength, how much could you bench?
Bench?
Yeah. How many times can you bench? How many times can you bench 275 pounds?
A lot. A lot. But I never went for reps. I was more into heavyweights. So I would say bench maybe 450, 500.
Okay.
Or like 5.
275. Okay.
Right.
Let's pretend, right, you're on the ground, and I got a 275 pounds at a barbell, and I climb up a ladder. I toss the 275 pounds onto you, and you're supposed to catch it and help it not hit the ground hard. Bro, think about that.
And not only that, bro. Not only that. Here's the other thing. You could have really had 3 major injuries, because MVP's just coming off some knee. Imagine if he would have.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah, that's a good point, Disco. It's like instead of thinking about throwing a 200-pound bag of powdered concrete or something from a height, and you got to
from like 10 feet.
And you're not used to basing. If you're not used to basing, or you don't like to, or you're afraid to, that's just they were very lucky. That could have been worse.
Every time I see a guy had a base, I worry about
Look.
If I was in the place, I'd worry about the guy's knee catching me in the head, and knocking me out. That's what I see it. That's what I think. Yeah.
And not to mention that guy that guy from NXT, that big tough guy, European guy, the rugby player, ate a dive and he fractured his.
Oh
he tore his knee
yeah. That's right.
Okay, you're right. So it's like, hey, but here's the thing: when you're talking about the spot in the back, it's like, yeah, bro. At that point, when you're outside the ring. And this guy and you're at the point where it's in practice now. Now the dive is taking place.
Yeah.
And you see this guy diving at you. It's like, from a health-wise, if you don't want to get hurt, what's your initial reaction? You got a split second to think.
Right.
It's like, am I going to run up and catch this guy, or am I going to like, oh, I might get hurt here. Yeah. You know,
let me tell you, if that ever happens, because a lot of wrestlers listen to the show, if that ever happens and you're in that situation, the best thing to do is just stick your hands up in the air so you can at least break his fall. Right. That way you're breaking his fall and you can take your own bump if you don't know how to catch. And if you don't know how to catch, learn, because everybody does topes now.
Yeah. But Lashley wins with the hurt lock. Is this that they're getting that? Bro, isn't this crazy? A full Nelson now is a finish, and it's a very believable looking finish.
Right.
Especially when nobody gets out of it. You know.
Good. Yeah.
Let me ask your guys' opinion on this, because Brian Alvarez and some other critics and stuff have said if Lashley was just going to go over and keep the title, what was the point of Miz getting the championship to pass it to Lashley? You know, why wouldn't Lashley just beat McIntyre?
Because I have a feeling, and I brought this up before, that after all the they've done to Miz, they wanted to at least give him something, because he is a very hard worker, always looks good, is great on interviews, has his own show, Miz and whatever and probably WWE gets a cut of that. They were, bro, we got to give this guy a bone. He put Otis over. He put everybody over. We ridiculed him in his underwear. They probably said, hey, we're going to give you the belt. They just didn't tell him for how long.
Yeah. He had been around 15 years, too.
He had the Money in the Bank suitcase for forever.
Yeah.
So he had it. There was no way he could hold it for that long and pick a spot where he was going to not. But
I just thought it was up to give it to him like that and take it like that the way they did, because I mean they meant nothing and they kind of made him look. They did make him look like a.
Hang on, I forgot. Hey, give me 2 seconds. I got to plug my computer in.
Yeah.